Hey everyone, I am so excited about today's episode. Actually, I'm recording this after I just had my amazing conversation with Heather Chauvin. She really is my go to expert on all things what she calls energetic time management. Now, does that sound like super woo woo and up in the clouds? Yes. But I'm here to tell you it is very tactical and pragmatic. I have learned so much from Heather about this and just how much of my time often gets sabotaged around things I'm thinking about that don't even have like an action item or in any way would show up on my to-do list. So, without further ado, let's go ahead and jump in. I cannot wait for you all to meet Heather today. Hey, everybody, welcome back to Work Life Harmony. I have a guest on our show today who first made an appearance, it feels like a lifetime ago. I think it's been way too long since we chatted. But Heather Chauvin is here today to talk specifically about something called energetic time management, which I get very, very intrigued about. So, Heather, welcome. I would love for you to kind of introduce yourself, tell everybody a little bit about you, and then we will dive into our topic today.
This is my favorite topic in the whole entire world. Of course, when you kind of like dig in and double down on something and what do they call it? Those putting your 10,000 hours to like massage and I don't like the word expert, but really own a skill. Energetic time management has been that thing for me. And just backing up a little bit, we don't really enter tools into our lives unless something happens. And then we need to find the tool that does the damn thing. In 2013, I was diagnosed with a stage 4 cancer diagnosis. 9 years before that, I became a mother, and motherhood was my first, can I say holy shit on here? My first holy shit moment to, I need time management tools. But I didn't need that. I needed something deeper, and I just had this internal ache for not this, not this. Like, there was something out of alignment, and I know we'll probably talk about what alignment means, but I think we all have that little whisper inside of us of like, "This is not sustainable. This is not the life I wanna be living. There has to be something more or else." And so, like, literally the moment I became a mother, that was very apparent to me, and I thought everyone else had the answer. So, of course, I do the thing, I seek mentorship, I'm asking other women who I see as role models, like, help me, what do you do?" And the feedback and the help that I received was very disheartening of like, "This is it." Burnout is kind of in the job description. Misalignment, yeah, like, we don't do that here. And for whatever reason, it was my cancer diagnosis that, w you know, was what felt like the event that I was training for, in the sense of, I just need to become the woman that I needed. I need to become the role model that I need. And energetic time management was about, how do I manage my energy, not the 24 hours in a day? Because energy to me was mental, physical, emotional, spiritual, and financial energy. So I usually talk about 4 types of energy. I'm kind of adding a 5th, but it was like all the things in my life. How do I manage all of them and integrate them so I feel in alignment? And so that's it in a nutshell.
Oh, that's so powerful. And I, I I have so many questions I want to take us down, but what I love about the work that you're doing, I am very much more the pragmatic, tactical. What are all the things with all the financial, the emotional energy, right? And now how do I create a plan to get me from A to Z? And one of the components inside the top framework that I talk about is the idea of alignment, which my definition of when I think about it is, almost think about your car, right? If your tire's out of alignment, you'll still get to where you're going, but it's not gonna be smooth. It's gonna feel weird. It might take longer. It might burn more gas, might have some bumps along the way. So when I think about alignment, I'm just very narrowly focused on, okay, what times of day or week or month, depending on the type of planning am I doing, do I know I can get this type of work done the most efficient, the easiest, the smoothest, one that's gonna make it not feel so hard. Like, I know if I try and sit down to do really creative thinking at the end of the day, it's just I might as well just beat my head against a wall kind of a thing, and that's I feel like that's a very small sliver of what you are talking about. So what is your relationship when you think about alignment inside of that big, energetic time management bubble?
When I think of, like, the layers of an onion, and so first of all, you're talking about, like, to me, in my language, physical energy management. And I think people like, there's a spectrum of alignment and energy management or time management, and we need all of it. And we also need to ask ourselves, what works for me? What's in alignment? What feels good to me? It's the same as when you're going to find a resource out there or some whether it's a workout or a meal plan or something, you're like, "That doesn't work for me." But physical energy management, like physical, how do we plan the 24 hours in a day? Number 1, that is a part of my ETM process, and it is essential. Where I see people too on the other end of the spectrum, and they're like, "I'm just gonna go with the flow, and I'm gonna do all the things." I'm like, "You're actually, like, avoidant. Like, you can go with the flow, but you need to use all realities, and you need to use the planner, and you need to close your eyes and ask and get radically honest with yourself. Does this feel in alignment, or am I operating like a robot? And so for me, alignment is this in alignment with how I want to feel? Now, people get that confused when they are about to do something that's really emotionally uncomfortable. My podcast is called Emotionally Uncomfortable because they're like, well, I don't want to do that thing. And I was like, yeah, you just have resistance around it. But on the other side of it, is it going to give you freedom? So the first thing that I like to ask people is what's working, what's not working. We already know what's working or not working in our lives, but alignment to me is the parts that are not working. Am I willing to get radically honest with myself of where I'm not taking ownership? So my North Star is always how do I want to feel? And we talk a little bit about this in my training inside your Planapalooza of like the step by step of how to do that. So I won't dive deeper into that. But the other side is like, okay, there's a core desired feeling. There's a common feeling that I am after. Mine might be alive and energized. What specific actions do I need to take today to get there? Now, if I feel energized, sometimes when I'm about to take the action that I need to take, I feel the opposite of energy. I feel incredibly low. But as soon as I take the action on the other side of it, if it gave me more energy, I'll give you a perfect example recording this podcast today. I love you deeply. I'm like, I know that after my conversation with Megan, I'm going to feel more energy. I'm going to feel connected, excited. But we're recording this on a Monday. Every single time I go on video, I feel low right before I do it. But on the other side, I'm like lit up like a Christmas tree. My point is just because you're about to do something and you feel the opposite of how you think it's going to make you feel, it's this bigger vision. Is my life in alignment? And too often we are I think we turned into a little bit of like robots and we're living in our business or in our business and our lives and our work. We're like the doers in our lives. We're not on our life, meaning we're not on the next level vision. So alignment is, wouldn't it be nice if, like, are you going to give yourself permission? How do you want to feel mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually? So I talk a little bit about like the strategies and the skills of that in the step by step of how to do that. But alignment doesn't need to be this overcomplicated like waving sage in every single room of your home and singing kumbaya with flowers around your head. Like, really, it is where are you not living in integrity with what your soul is craving and what you know to be true? Where are you not speaking your truth and where are you leaking your power and your energy?
Oh, and I love that you were like, yeah, it doesn't need to be overcomplicated. I think
Mm-mm.
if you sit quietly with yourself for a minute, like You know, because you know how you feel. Now, I get a lot of questions around, when people are trying to do the more pragmatic side of the planning and they're trying to think about alignment in their energy. And then they're like, well, and particularly like maybe you're in perimenopause or something and you feel like you have zero control
Mhm.
over your energy from day to day, let alone hour to hour. How do we continue to honor this energetic time management when it can feel like we have zero control over our energy per se?
Well, we do have way more control than we give ourselves credit. So, cancer taught me a lot about energy management, not just physical energy management of how to get things done, but where am I not taking radical responsibility for how I want to feel? So, when it comes to like hormones, as an example, I've already been through menopause, like medically induced menopause, which was the most traumatic, one of the most traumatic things in my life. If anyone goes from like zero to menopause, that's not a fun game. But after that, I had to, like, step outside of this cultural expectation of how I'm supposed to feel. So that's number 1. I could walk out of my house today and probably have a conversation with any woman, and she's gonna try to create connection with me through how fatigued she is. Like, that's literally going to be how she tries to create connection with me. How much she has on her plate, how overwhelmed she is, how shitty she feels. And I just don't play that game anymore. That is not my North Star. My North Star is how good can I feel? And so when I go, you know what? My mood swings, not working for me. This hormone ups and downs, not working for me. Like that goes on my what's not working list. And that becomes physical energy management, like my physical body. And yes, there's physical planning. What actions do I need to take in order to make that happen? So, an example, when you're like, okay, well, let's say the reality is today I can't get out of bed, I have no energy, or I'm exhausted. Ask yourself, how do I want to feel? I want to feel energized. I want to feel alive. I want to feel abundant. Great. Every action that you are doing, a simple tip. Every action that you are doing, asking yourself, is this getting me closer or further away from how I want to feel? So, if I'm reaching in the fridge for food that I know is not going to fuel my body, I'm literally asking myself, is this closer or further away? And then I grab the meal, then I grab the apple, then I grab whatever it is this conversation that I'm about to have with this person who's trying to create connection with me through suffering and how crappy they feel in alignment with my bigger vision? And if the answer is no, I may still have the conversation with somebody, but I'm not going to agree with them just to create connection. I'll be like, yeah, I've been feeling great. I'm not going to shrink myself to please them because I don't want them to be uncomfortable that my reality is not their reality. And the whole point here is like when you start to see like it's such a micro thing, but when you start to see these tiny, tiny, tiny things, you realize how often we are literally shrinking our energy to please other people. My kids are home, as most are. It's summertime. And I'm always getting these requests. Can we do this? Can we do this? Can I eat this? Can I eat this? And I'm like, why is my go-to that I need to perform and be this entertainment and this 24-hour chef? Why can't I just say, I think that's a great idea. Go make yourself a sandwich. Why do I need to like give away my energy in order to quote unquote please my child when I'm like, yeah, you got this, man. You could totally make a sandwich. Oh, you don't want to? Great. Then you don't get a sandwich. Yeah.
Men don't eat a sandwich. Do you think this is something that women struggle with more than men? This idea
Oh
of
my gosh.
shrinking ourselves? Yeah.
Hands down. I think I'm not kidding when I say this. I often ask myself, what would a man do? And then number 1, I feel so much relief. Number 2, way less effort than what I'm putting into a decision, an action. I live with 3 boys and my husband, actually my oldest just moved out, so we have 2 boys. So I have lots of masculine energy around me. I ask my husband all the time, "What would you do?" And he's like he tells me the answer and it's like 10% of what I would have done. And I'm like, "Should we overcomplicate everything?" So It's the yin and the yang. I think there's huge superpower in our ability to think differently than the male brain, and the shadow of that is overdoing, over nurturing, over mothering, which leads to burnout. So I think it's really, really important to know that number 1, you actually don't know everything. Number 2, no one ever said you need to do it alone. That's like a cultural expectation. And just because you can doesn't mean you should. And really, it goes back to identity. How do you want to lead? How do you want to identify? The more one kind of thing I've been playing with is the older you get, the more responsibility you have on your invisible plate. Like, the more people you are responsible for. This cultural conversation that we're having that it gets easier when your kids get older is the most BS thing I've ever heard in my life, because you have more invisible responsibility. That what I've actually seen is this, like, tug of war of, like, you have higher level responsibility. You have been promoted over the years, like, unconsciously. You should not be doing the things you did 10 years ago, and you're hanging on for dear life to those tasks that they should be outsourced. They should not even be on your to-do list. The fact that I have 3 children, well, 2 now living at home, and I should not be doing, like, the basic things that they can do. And we just don't stop and take those things off of our invisible plate. But here we are, sandwich generation, taking care of our kids, taking care of our parents, taking care of all these finances, all this bigger level crap, and still doing low level tasks and then being angry, resentful, and burnt out, and then wondering why.
And, even think about the plate concept, right? It's like, okay, I think back to becoming a mom 15 years ago, right? My plate felt pretty darn full. Things were falling off the side.
Yeah.
We never when we add stuff to it, whatever it is, never do we pause and go, "What am I now taking off to make room for the new thing?"
Mhm.
And to your point, I think, talking motherhood specifically or any kind of caregiving in that capacity, it starts very physical, so you can see it, right? You see all the things, but then the older your kids get, less and less physical, more and more emotional, thoughtful, mental, and that's hard to because you don't see it, it's hard to recognize the amount of time and energy that is going to that, and then we've gotten the habit of all the physical, so we haven't gotten rid of we're still making the sandwiches and doing the things. Where would be a good place for someone to start who is in that there's way too much stuff on the plate, things are falling off, falling through the cracks? Where
Mhm.
would you encourage them to kinda start off if they are wanting to figure out what is that one thing, that North Star, whatever you wanna call it, to discover this I want more of this, so what is it that I'm going to let go of?
Okay, so one thing, I may forget your question, so you might have to ask me again. But one thing that's coming up hard for me as we're talking is the emotional work that we are doing for other people that is on our plate. This is huge, and I talk a lot about this. And this is something that I see with women all the time because we're especially high performing or ambitious women. I'm using air quotes. Like, when you're the responsible one or you're like the household manager, like you're the one doing all the things, you don't realize it, but you start to pick up other people's work for them, which is such a huge energy leak because you're trying to rescue everybody else because you see their potential. Like your kids, even your kids, especially if they're teenagers. Like, "Oh, gosh, I see their potential. If I just did this, if I just put them here, if I just do that, oh, they've had a really hard semester. So I'm just going to let them go easy." Or partners are huge. Well, they won't do that. He won't do that. She won't do that. Okay, but why are you? We have to realize that invisible crap ends up on your plate that isn't even yours to manage. And then we're angry and resentful, but we've put it on our own plate.
And I think part of the reason it's on our plate is we physically, as women, the emotional center of our brain
Yeah.
is bigger than the
Mhm.
brains of our male counterparts. So it's like our physicality is even leaning into us doing that by
Yeah.
default.
That's a superpower. But if you are not giving yourself grace and like enough time to think about it. If you're just like go, 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 like addiction to busy is a real thing. So if you don't just stop for a moment, kind of going back to your question of like, where do we start? Like, stop for a moment. I'm a huge fan of pen and paper. I'm like, just write down your thoughts. Like, write down everything that you're carrying, do a brain dump. And I like to categorize everything. So if I have kid stuff, I'll put it in like a little kid category. If I like whatever's on my mind, I just like dump it out and I try to just like put it in little boxes on a piece of paper. Look at it and go, is that even mine to work on? Is that mine to carry? But it's just like it's self-awareness to know this is what's taking up brain space right now. This is what's eating away at you. And oftentimes it's not a to-do list. It is the energy and emotion around the to-do that is the mental and emotional weight that is really weighing on us. So when I talk about energetic time management, it's a perfect example of like, I just need a blueprint. I just need a plan. I need a template. I need a strategy. I'm like, here you go. Here it is. Took us 5 minutes. I check in. How's it going? It's not. Okay, why is it not going? Because of this. I said, okay, you told me you need a strategy. Do you see now that the strategy isn't what's stopping you? It's managing the energy around the physical strategy, which is why I talk so much about the mental, emotional, and spiritual energy management of like not abandoning our desires, using our voice, learning how to like master the skill of emotional intelligence, learning how to like not buy into the stories that we tell ourselves. And because when we develop those skills and articulating them and being consistent with implementing them, that's what we have control over. And that's where we feel unstoppable. And that's how we create deeper connections in our relationships, make more money, have more capacity and of time.
Oh, so good. So good. I could talk to you for hours, but what I want to do is for those of you listening, we have, the fifth annual Planapalooza is coming up in October. And right now, when you're listening to this episode as it's coming out in August, we have our early bird ticket. So this is the absolute cheapest deal you can get for Planapalooza. And I'm bringing this up because Heather is one of our guest experts that has recorded a incredible training for you all. I would love it if you would let everyone know what your training is about and what they will be able to learn from you when they get their Planapalooza ticket.
I remember I sent you my little GIF. I was like, of me like rocking on stage or someone rocking on stage and like, I'm like, I just gave them everything. So what I did is sometimes, like, I understand these big topics are like, yeah, nice in theory, but yeah, but I'm a very practical person. So when I was literally in recovery and had no energy in the tank and I was at my rock bottom and I'm like, I need to figure out how to feel alive. I need to figure out how to thrive. That's when I created the ETM strategy and I teach you step by step by step by step how that works. So get out your pen and paper. That's exactly what I teach inside the training. And because I love Megan and her community, I like it's literally one of my modules from my paid course. So I was like, here you go. This is exactly what you need to do. This is what I do behind the scenes when nobody's looking on how do I manage work and the kids and my energy and my health and all the things and make sure I'm thriving. So, yeah, step by step, pen and paper and taking these big complex woo-woo concepts of energy and making it into very practical everyday steps for you. And it takes like less than 20 minutes a day if you just chip away.
What I so appreciate about what you teach, because it's very important to me, because it's what we do here as well, is you practice and live what you teach. It's
Mhm.
not, sometimes it can be so easy to go, oh, I know if you just did these things, here's the answer. But then oftentimes the people teaching it aren't actually living it themselves. So anyone that follows you or watches your work knows instantly that, yeah, you are actually implementing, doing, and practicing everything that you are sharing with your community. I have learned a lot about my own energy leaks
Mhm.
around the emotional side and things that I churn and worry about through you. So I want to thank
Mhm.
you for that. I always felt like I was really good at seeing the physical, like traditional to-do list things that I could delegate. but
Yeah.
the emotional ones, I had a lot packed in there that I wasn't even aware of. So definite work in progress over here. So thank you
Aren't
for
we
all.
all?
Yeah, right. No kidding. Thank you all for just the amazing work that you are doing there. Truly, Heather, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. So everyone, when you grab your ticket again, you will get access to Heather's bonus training in there. It's phenomenal. It's one you're probably going to want to watch more than once. And between now and then, where can people best connect with you? Where's a great place for people to learn more about your ETM, your energetic time management framework, and all that you do?
Yeah, so go to the podcast, Emotionally Uncomfortable. I talk a lot about like everyday practical, I ramble and then I interview people, but I'm like digging into these concepts, which makes sense after you understand the language of it. So yeah, check out the podcast, Emotionally Uncomfortable. Follow me on Instagram at Heather Chauvin, Chauvin. I always love when people listen to this and send me a message. Let me know your biggest takeaway too.
You heard her here.
Yeah.
Wonderful. Well, thank you. Time is a precious gift, and I always so appreciate it when you share it so willingly. So thanks, Heather.